What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all?
My future isn't determined by where I currently reside. Understanding your worth will put pride in your stride. I'm accountable to my call. There's no compromise. I set my own bar, and you better know it's set high.
It's giving what it's supposed to give. Ooh, stop playing with them.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of It's a Perspective. Today, we have a special guest. He is known as the nation's leading STEM motivational speaker and school success strategist. With over 25 plus years of being a student, yes, you heard that right, he has been the first-hand insight into what it takes to not only inspire students and educators, but also fuel them with the momentum necessary for success. Over the years, he has earned 3 advanced college degrees, a BS degree in chemistry from Norfolk State University, an MS degree in Polymer Science and Engineering from Lehigh University, a MS degree in Textile and Fiber Engineering from Georgia Institute of Technology. As if 3 degrees wasn't enough for Mr. Simmons, also, he invented contact lens products for the CIBA Vision and has worked as a scientist at NASA Research Center. As a scientist myself, I just want to add, this is a man after my own heart. Please welcome Mr. Kantis Simmons.
Yes.
Yes,
What's up,
sir.
Dashari?
How are you today?
I am absolutely amazing. It's good to speak to another scientist, another STEM nerd.
Yes. Well, listen, on this podcast, I don't like to waste time. So we're going to get right into it. This is the fans' favorite part of the show. It's called That's My Jam. Now, this is a segment of the show where you can play a mantra or a song you can't resist jamming, dancing, or singing to. What you got for us, Mr. Simmons?
Ooh. Okay, so all right, so I'm on both sides of the spectrum. All right. I'm hood and I'm holy. Okay.
We love it.
I'm hood and I'm holy. So I grew up here in the Atlanta area with the school at Southwest DeKalb in Decatur, Georgia. And I was a drum major. So I was a marching band guy. So I think my song, like whenever I hear it, is it's a song by the Yin Yang Twins.
Yes.
It's called Halftime.
Uh-oh.
Come to get you.
Yeah.
Let it come to get you, right? And the whole thing is like, we are coming to get you, crunk. And I think that's my mantra because I look at it like every time I wake up, God has given me another opportunity to get crunk and to do something amazing. So that's my hood side. And then on the other side, it's a gospel song. And so I'm also a choir director, right? And so this song years ago, it's called I'm Available. I'm Available to You by Milton Bronson. And it basically is like, Lord, I'm available to you. Like my hands, my ears, my heart, my eyes, like it's all for you. And I think at the end of the day, the Yin Yang Twins getting crunk, Milton Bronson on the gospel side is like, Lord, I'm available to you. And we just mesh those together and I'm just hood and holy, I guess.
we love to hear it. We love to hear it. All right, you guys, let's get into his jams.
Hey, I'm trying to get crunk. C-R-U-N-K. Tell them how we gonna go. Tell them why they don't want to. Tell them why they better run.
All right, let's get into it. So, who is Kantis Simmons?
Wow. Well, let's start here. So I was raised in a middle class broke family. All right, you know about middle class broke, got a nice mom, a nice dad, but you always broke. And in my middle class broke family, like my mom and dad, like they really impressed upon me to go to school. Like, go to school, stay out of trouble, get good grades. You know, they
Right.
had this thought process of, if you're not doing something positive, then something's negative going to find you. And because of that,
Okay.
like, they always kept me involved in something. And so school was my thing. Like you mentioned before, I spent 25 years in school, right? And basically what that looked like was elementary school, middle school, high school, college, it all sort of flowing together. And out of that, I just realized that there were so many opportunities that school produced for me. And I think the bigger thing that it produced for me was understanding that there were so many opportunities out here in the world. And I chose to go down the science, down the science field. And I'm here today, just I would say a regular young man who's had some amazing people, amazing leaders, amazing teachers, amazing mentors and parents that have sort of helped me end up where I am today, and just, you know, traveling the country, speaking on STEM, and having a lot of fun doing it.
I love that so much. Okay, so before we get into what you do, I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about the beginning of where your career started. So you said you were in school for 25 plus years. How has the culmination of those experiences prepared you over the years?
It's just that, you know, I feel like life, when we go through life, we learn things based off mentors or mistakes, right?
Mm,
And I felt like elementary school, you experience multiple mentors. They're called our teachers, right?
mm-hmm.
Maybe you're playing youth sports. Those are our mentors. They're called coaches. And then
Right.
going through all of those years and with the studies, with the school, with the science, with the English, with the social studies, with the calculus, and doing that year after year after year, I realized that life is all about learning. Some years ago, I remember one of my mentors told me, he said, Kantis, if you want to earn more, then learn more, become a perpetual student. And even though I was in school for all of those years, I never ever stopped um, this mindset of learning more. And so 25 years of school of learning, you know, formally, and even today as an entrepreneur, I'm still learning. I'm still looking at ways to improve who I am and what I'm all about.
That is amazing. Wow. That's truly amazing. So I believe that representation is everything. And before going to college, the movie Hidden Figures was released, and I didn't realize the full circle moment until it happened. So fast forward, I become a college student, and I was able to intern for NASA. And be a lead intern for a project where I got to send biological samples up into suborbital space. Um, and I believe that was one of the greatest experiences for me, and not only for the opportunities, but I was able to learn so much. You know what I mean? So with all of that being said, what does representation in science mean to you?
I think representation in science, what it means to me is that when you have individuals who are just unique, I feel like we
Mm-hmm.
all are dope in our own way, right? And
Right.
I think the cool thing about just being in science is that you meet people from all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
A black man, a black woman,
Yeah.
a white man, a white woman, an Asian woman, different people who have
Yes.
different backgrounds. And the cool thing about science is it's all about solving problems. It's all about
Mm-hmm.
coming together. And in spite of some of the things that we may see in our world, we really live in an international world. And the cool thing about representation is that when I don't have the answers from my perspective, I can always lean on somebody else and their perspective. And
Right.
sometimes the way that we were raised, the way that we were brought up, it shapes our perspective. And if we don't see anything else, we actually have a narrow view of approaching things. And I think the cool thing about science is that I'm represented one way. There are other men, there are other cultures represented in other ways. and I'm able to pull from their perspective. They're able to pull from my perspective. And as I'm doing that, my capacity is now growing, because not only am I the only one looking at it from my point of view, but I'm also learning and inheriting other people's perspective. And so now our representation is actually increasing.
Man, yes, pulling from each other's
Yep.
perspective. I believe that's what the world needs. That's the reason why I started It's a Perspective, because we all need each other's perspective. It's not always about us. It's what we can help and benefit others as well.
Right.
So how was working at NASA as a research scientist?
Mhm.
What made you decide to work at NASA, or what opportunities allowed you to, be at that place?
Yep. So here's the cool thing, right? But I mentioned earlier that my mom and my dad always kept me busy.
Right.
And they kept me busy doing something, where it was a summer program, whether it was a weekend retreat. And the cool thing about it is that as I was going through high school, like I never worked at like McDonald's or a part-time job. My part-time job was going to this summer program, right? Or this part-time job was going to Clark Atlanta University. And so
Right.
what happened was that every summer I was doing something in the science field. Just like yourself, round about I think it's my junior, might have been my sophomore year. That was my junior year at Norfolk State University. And I applied for a summer research program, very similar to an internship. And I was able to go there and just sit in at NASA. And it might have been like a 12-week program for the summer. It might have been 8 weeks. And I was able to work as an intern there at NASA.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, same opportunity came up, another intern. And then when it was time for me to go to grad school, I had just graduated, NASA had a graduate fellowship, right? So they were now responsible for paying part of my graduate degree. And so I would go to school at Lehigh University, but then again, I'm in partnership with NASA, so I'll always come back. Now, here's the cool thing. Every
is so
single
cool.
year, I have relationships with the scientists, the directors of those departments. So when it's time to hire somebody, hello, right? Like, who you going to hire, right? Who you going to hire? Like, you're going to hire the guy that you know.
Right.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about opportunities that the science industry presents, right? It's like, hey, before you sign the paperwork, let's make sure you really want to do this for a living. And the
Right.
cool thing about NASA, you understand where research is concerned, every day is a different day, right?
Right.
When I first came in, so I've always been a materials guy, right? I work in the area of materials so actually for me, it really started in the 5th grade, right? So a little short
Okay.
story here. Started in 5th
No.
grade with this company called Kia, KIA.
Okay.
Now, they weren't called Kia back in the day. They were KIA, right?
Okay.
And so KIA was in the business of how can we make automobiles more efficient? How can we reduce the cost of the materials? Like back in the 60s and the 70s, early 80s, cars sounded like Tonka trucks when you hit them on the side, right? All that aluminum and everything. And so
Right.
Kia was KIA. They were in the business of trying to change the parts, add more aerodynamics, reduce the materials, and move into this place called polymers, right?
Okay.
And so polymers was a word that stuck out for me in the 5th grade. And I said, wow. And so I kept watching the polymer industry. And then when I ended up working at NASA, I ended up working in the Polymer Science Division.
Wow.
And what that meant was now we're using polymers and composite materials to make the wings on the F-22 fighter plane. Or we're using polymers and materials to work on materials in the shuttle. Or polymers and materials to work on different elements all across NASA. And so it was real cool. I remember like my first day of work, I had like so many NASA stories, right? I remember my first day of work, came on base. It was this huge base.
Mm-hmm.
Came through, you come through the gates and they check your ID, hey, I'm here, boom, 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 Kantis Simmons. And I go to my to the Polymer division. Now here's the cool thing. Like, I've been there before because I was going there, the summer program and the graduate program. But my first official day of work, we went out on, we call it the field.
Mm-hmm.
And they took these 2 dummies. No, it was actually 4 dummies. Put them in a helicopter. They raised this helicopter way up in the sky, right?
Oh,
it's
wow.
like everybody has their device. And, we're actually about to, do this test to see, safety protocols, see if the materials are working. And so all the dummies had sensors on them and everything. I don't even know if these were iPads or tablets back in the day, but I remember they pulled a helicopter way up in the sky. And there was this countdown: 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, so this helicopter hits the ground with these 4 dummies just jumping around in the helicopter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then my boss looked at me. He looked at his device. Other people were looking at their devices and everything. And he said to me, "Ish happened." I'm like, what? He didn't say the word ish. He said the other word, right?
Yeah.
Like, it happened. I'm like, huh? And I learned something that day because a lot of times in life, things don't go the way that we plan, right? Ish happened. And one of the cool things about NASA and even after leaving NASA, started working in science as a research scientist developing contact lenses, I realized that life is all about the pivots and the perspectives in which you take. When things don't go the way that you originally planned, you got to make a pivot, right? We all saw that the last few years here in our world, we had to make a pivot. And when making a pivot, it's very important that you now have to get new information, to have a new strategy, to have a new outlook, to now solve a new problem. And I think that's one of the greatest things that I got from working there at NASA, got from working as a research scientist at CIBA Vision, where I developed contact lenses, is that people pay you when you can solve problems. And I think that is so major, not only for myself, but that's one thing that I impress upon other individuals who are interested in going into science, technology, engineering, and math.
Wow. People pay you when you can solve problems.
Let's think about it like
That's amazing.
Like, you only want, okay, look at your friend circle, right? Like, we all got friends, right?
Right.
You want friends that's going to make your life better. Okay?
Absolutely.
Right. You want friends, like, I have this statement that I say all my friends are rich. Right. And I got millionaire friends. Some of my millionaire friends going to billionaires. And it's like, that's my declaration of faith, of hope. Hey, all my friends are rich. Hey, my family is blessed. My family is healed. And I say that because you don't want somebody in your life that's going to have you stressed out, have you pissed off, ticked off, tripping all the time, right?
Right.
Like, that brings stress. And the same thing happens for corporate America. Same thing happens for business. We want people on our team. We want people in our organization that's going to drive sales, that's going to increase productivity, that's going to make the world a better place. And anytime, you're associated with somebody and they're pulling you down, if they're stressing you out, if they're slowing down production, hey, that's the quickest way to get let go. Right? That's the quickest way to get cut off. And so I'm always saying to people, hey, if you can solve problems, you will always have a paycheck.
Man. So speaking of having, people that can solve problems, let's get into the cool nerds. So you call yourself the cool nerd. How has being the cool nerd helped you transcend to this point in your career?
Now, here's what's so funny, Dashari. I didn't realize I was a nerd until I got to grad school. Listen, I didn't realize I was that guy until I got to grad school. Now, here's so funny, right?
That's understandable.
So when I was at Lehigh University, they had a huge number of international students.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at Lehigh University, hey, just keep it real, I was like the only black male.
Okay.
And so we were studying something, and I was having some challenges, in this subject. So I said, you know what? I'm going to throw a little house dinner. I'm going to cook a little collard greens, fried chicken, and I'm going to invite these international students over to my crib where we can do a nice little study session. So I'm thinking like, yo, everything is perfect. I got everything lined up. So they come over to the house, right?
Okay.
They looking at me. I'm looking at them. They looking at me. I'm looking at them. Like I'm trying to get the knowledge from them. Like, hey, I'm serving food. So you guys can give me the ABCs on what's really going on in this class.
Right.
But here was their thing. They was like, well, we came over because you the only black male in the department. You must be smart, right?
Wow.
You must be smart. I never ever saw it that way, and that's when I realized, like, well, maybe I am the nerd, right? But I say cool nerd because in high school I was a popular guy. I was a drum major. I would bring one of the best bands in the world out on the field doing halftime. So I was like that guy. But then I played baseball. I was a pretty good baseball player. When I went to college, I was popular. I was over used to direct the choir and everything. And so I don't just say nerd. I just say cool nerd. And here's the bigger thing about it. So many times we've heard, or so many times we have been taught or assumed that science is hard.
Right.
Math is hard, right? And when we come up through school, based on how well you do in science and math, will sort of determine what track you go down in your curriculum. And so what I said to myself was that, listen, I want to tear down this notion that science is hard. I want to tear down that it's stressful. I want to tear down the fact where people say only men can do science and engineering, right? Women's supposed to be nurses, or women's supposed to do this. And I said, you know what? Because I was the only one in those classrooms, because I was the only one working on those projects, I said, you know what? The only reason I don't see other little black boys and young black men is because in our mind, we've been taught that this has been so hard. And so I've made it my mission to say, how can I make STEM cool? How can I make science cool? How can I make learning math cool? And that has been my mission. That has been the things that I live by. Like you've probably seen in school, right? Where they have your professor or the scientist, right? He got like all of the 100,000 pens in his pocket, looking like a nerd, right? His hair just going everywhere, beard all shabby and everything. And I said to myself, listen, I don't want to be that guy. So I just wanted to change the narrative, change the vocabulary, change the look to say, hey, young man, young woman, regardless of where you're from, regardless of what you've seen, you can be a dope scientist. It's actually pretty easy if you can understand how to think, if you can understand how to solve problems, if you can understand how to go about formulating hypothesis on what should be done. And so that's why I consider myself a cool nerd. I believe STEM is everywhere. I believe that even if you're not in the STEM field, you're actually in the STEM field, believe it or not.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I love that so much. That story really touched me, because I'm like, most people don't think like that. We think the worst about every every part of ourselves. We're like, okay, so if I'm the only one in here, then everybody else must be smarter than me. You know what I mean? And so to know that they thought that because you were the only person representing a black male or black woman as well, that you were the smart one and the cool nerd in that scenario. So, talking about being smart, you are obviously a smart man with 3 advanced college degrees. How did you find your way into the STEM field? Besides going to the camps and things like that, how did that click for you? Because I know that we can go to these different places and be it pique our interest, but how did it click for you?
Yeah, Dashari, I think the way it clicked for me, so like when we say this word smart, right? Like that's relative, right?
Right. Okay.
I think one of the things that I've learned, if you can read, right? Let's really think about the world that we live in. Everything that we know, it came from somebody.
Okay.
Right? And so if you see behind my set here, I have a lot of books, right? I have a lot of books. And I realized, all right, my professors, they're not really that smart. They got it from a book.
Okay, that's true.
And so what I did was, okay, if this man is talking about this, where did he get it from? Oh, he got it from this book. So reading books for me was almost like watching the movie. Right? You ever watched a movie and because you've seen it so many times, it's like, oh, I know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
The same thing is true where our studies are concerned. So my mindset was, all right, let me go read the book. And then when we show up in the classroom and my professor, him or her, they start talking about the subject, I've already got a glimpse of what they're going to talk about because I'm reading the same book that they are reading. And so when they present it to me, now it's increasing my learning. And I think that was a part of helping me become smart. Then the second thing that I realized was the opportunities that I had outside the classroom. When we go to school, we only see things based on what we can see with those 4 walls in the classroom.
Right.
When we have the opportunities to go outside, when things open up, people say, we outside, right?
Yes.
Right?
People love that.
Right.
Yes.
But it's like when you can step outside the classroom and go sit down with a doctor, or go step outside the classroom to actually go to a farm and see on the farm how they're growing vegetables. Or when you're able to go into the doctor's office and they pull out that needle. Well, it's not a needle, it's like a little drill, right? But when they pull that little needle out of there doing surgery, it allows you to see what's going on. And now by seeing it, you say to yourself, wait a minute. First of all, do I want to do this? Second of all, why you got that drill? Why you about to drill into this person's side of their head? Slow down. What's about to happen? Why is the blood coming out? All of those things now becomes a part of education, becomes a part of learning. So on one hand, we have books. On the other hand, we have experiences. We have people. And I think life is all about learning. Like another thing that I do now, like even when I watch TV, when I watch movies now, when I watch even reality shows, I look at all the stuff that they're not saying.
Right.
I look at it from, here's that word again, perspective, right? I look at it from different perspectives and say, why did the producer and director, why did they really throw this scene in here? Why are they wearing those colors? The light's down. It's a foggy day. Right. It looks scary. Like all of that is setting the tone for what's about to happen because the boogeyman about to jump out the closet, right? So all of those, I'm just weird like that. And I do that in everything that I do in life because now, again, we go back to if you can solve problems, people will pay you a paycheck. And a lot of times people give up too quick because they feel like things are hard. They give up too quick because they feel like things can't be done. And I feel like this: if Kantis Simmons is on the project, we're gonna figure it out.
Yes.
We're gonna win no matter what it takes, no matter how long we gotta stay up. This problem can't be too bad. I'm a Christian. I love God. I'm like, listen, God is the ultimate scientist. And because he is, he's an amazing creator. And I believe he put a little bit of that creation on the inside of me. And so now I'm able to solve these problems.
Man, come on now. You better speak. You guys, I hope that you are intentionally listening, because it takes the knowledge to want to learn and want to go investigate why you want to be in this field. From learning from your professor or from a mentor to going to put it in action and actually looking at how that thing is done. A lot of us, get misconstrued with learning and actually seeing it. They want to see it before they actually learn it. So we have to be intentional with those steps.
Yep.
And in being intentional, you get to get that paycheck, like he said, solving those problems. So let's get into it. What made you transition from a full-on scientist to a national motivational speaker and school success strategist?
So you all in my business. So I see you've done your research. I see you've done my research. So I'm gonna give you the raw, uncut version.
Mm-hmm.
As I was going through my career as a scientist, now we go back to you being the only one, right? I'm the only one, right? People often wanted to hear my stories like, yo, how did you end up working at NASA? How did you end up getting these good grades? How did you go to school for free? How did you get all these scholarships? Tell me about that, right? And so people were always asking me questions, and I would go speak at schools. They would have me speak at career day. I would do school assemblies. Now, remind you now, like, I'm the guy that loved being in front of people, right? Like, I was the drum major. I was the choir director. So I already had this personality of being in front of people. And because I had this mindset of, all right, I'm going to take the time to make sure that people behind me, that they get the clues, that I can give them some of the crumbs that fall down about success and be able to share those things. And so what happened was that I was speaking and I was going from school to school and college to college and showing up different places. And I started realizing, I'm like, wait a minute, this is pretty cool, right? Like, I'm no longer stuck within four walls of this laboratory. Right. I remember working at NASA. I was in a laboratory in a room that was like down in this basement. And there were not any windows.
Right.
And so the idea has been, all right, I've helped them make a lot of money. I've helped them do some amazing things. And it's like, wow, can I make more of an impact? And so in 2008, I was working at CIBA Vision. And the previous year, I had just worked on 2 projects, created 2 new contact lens products, making probably millions and billions of dollars. And to my surprise, this was like a year later. Now, before I tell you what happened, there's something with me that happened internally. Okay. Number one, I was finding a lot of joy speaking at schools and speaking at colleges. Number two, I noticed that on my direct team that they started hiring other people to work with me. Then number 3, I had this desire to say, you know what? I want more from my life. So guess what I started to do? I took on this principle. If you want to have your own, take care of another man's. If you want to have your own business, take care of another man's business the right way. And so in science, we got lab notebooks, we got journals, we got a lot of this stuff, right? And so I said, okay, I don't want to leave this company in a worse shape. So I started duplicating myself into my new coworkers. I started teaching them about fatigue crack propagation. I started teaching them the formulations on the different polymers that we were making. I was showing them all the things that to prepare our specimens for manufacturing. Like, I was teaching everything. Not only that, I got my notebooks in line. I got my laboratory in line. I got everything organized. But also at the same time, on my off days, on the weekends, I was speaking, I was traveling, I was growing, I was impacting. Until one day there in August 8th of 2008, I went to work. And in that year, I had ran out of vacation days.
Wow.
In that same year, I had 2 weeks of upcoming speaking engagements.
Woo.
And I didn't know how I was going to do those engagements and still work this job.
Right.
And to my surprise, I walked in a meeting one day and they let me go. Now,
wow.
Now, here's the crazy thing about it. When they let me go, I bust out laughing like, and the reason I bust out laughing because I remember my prayers.
Mm-hmm.
I bust out laughing because it was like, I was trying to figure out what I was going to say to get off of work to go do all of these new requests that came in. Mm-hmm. And to my surprise, I felt like everything, heaven and earth, lined up to say, all right, you're ready. But not only that, Dashari, my office was organized. My laboratory books was organized. Everybody was trained. And it was time for me to depart. I departed. And at one time, I thought that was the worst day of my life. But actually, it was the best day of my life. And guess what? I think a few years later, maybe even 18 months later, the company was sold to another company. Wow. And all of my colleagues that were there, a lot of them got laid off. A lot of them got, I saw some PhDs, doctors and stuff, scientists, working tables, working restaurants. And I almost felt like that story in the Bible with Noah, where God took Noah and put him on the boat. And that's how I felt. Like the rain is coming, the rain is coming. Yeah. And when I was propelled out in 2008, it was 08, right? I don't know, a new creation or whatever. But it was an awesome time. And so now I've been doing that full time and just absolutely love it. Absolutely love being able to pour back into students and to teachers and working with corporations and helping them really grow their STEM departments and just showing people that, hey, STEM is everywhere and science is really cool.
Yes, that is so amazing that you were preparing even when you didn't know.
Right.
Even when you didn't know how you were going to figure it out. You were preparing and you were working, and God said, okay, you worked, you fought, and now I'm going to give you what you need. And that's to be let go.
Now here's the funny thing though, right? Corporate America, like it could be when you get a check on the 1st and the 15th, like, right? you can get stuck in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Versus believing in yourself. Like you started this podcast, you had to go believe in yourself to start this podcast. You could be doing other different things, right? I'm not sure which episode this is, but it's like you had to step out and do this. You had to step out and create this. And I think so many people, we get complacent. We get comfortable when that check is coming in on the 1st and the 15th. Like, hey, all my bills are paid. I guess we good. But I believe there's something greater, right? Everything is going up. Gas going up, milk going up, weave going up, like weave hair going up, lashes going up. So if everything else is going up, why can't you go up, right?
Come on. You gotta speak to these people.
Come on. If lashes going up, why you can't go up? If milk is going up, why you can't go? If gas is going up, why can't you go up in the things that you're doing in life? Nothing stays the same. So why are people who are part of the greatest species in the world staying the same?
Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You're letting everything around you go up besides yourself. Come on, y'all. Please don't give up on yourself. Go up. In this season of your life, go up.
Yeah.
I love that so much. What led you to motivate not only teachers but students as well? Because I know that we can pay attention to teachers and allow them to grow and build, but sometimes they leave the students out. How did you get into doing that?
Well, here's the thing, right? So the reality is this, like, what's that called when you're a senior or senioritis, right?
Yeah.
You know, when senioritis kick in, like, bro, I don't feel like doing nothing.
Right.
But let's really think about it. We got people, you know, right now on TikTok. They can do them TikTok dances, do all the TikTok dances, right? My people,
Yes.
my people we don't have a problem learning.
At all. At all.
The issue is, can you keep their focus long enough so they can learn it and master it? And so me motivating students is where I go in and I show them, okay, listen, you got to get this done for the next 12 years. The state says you got to go to school. So if you have to go to school these 12 years, all right, your motivation is directly connected to your motive. Your motive is directly connected to your motor, right? So if your motor is not running, of course, you're not going to like school. If your motor is running slow, of course, you're not going to want to do anything. And then outside of that, it's the idea of helping them stay focused. We got so many distractions in this world. YouTube, reality TV show, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Tinder, Planet of Fish, PlayStation, Xbox, podcast. We got so many distractions.
Yeah.
But what if we can train our students to focus on something that's so important? Then when it comes time, it's like, all right, bro, take a break. Chill out. Go play your PlayStation. Cool. Now get back to work. And I think sometimes we think teachers have all the answers. And it's like, listen, I'm Kantis. I'm not your teacher. I'm just that cool brother or that cool uncle, just to show you that, listen, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to share my mistakes with you. I'm going to share some cool things that I've learned because I want to pull out of you and encourage you to do better. And a lot of times I'm saying the same message that their parents are saying, or I'm saying the same message that the teachers are saying. I just say it in a different, cool way to be able to deliver that.
That's so good. I believe that people need multiple ways to learn things because I know I've heard several different things from my parents, but coming from somebody else, it feels a little bit different.
Right.
Just because you know that it's not from a place of like, oh, I love you so much. It's from a place of, I know you can do this. So get it done. Get it done. So you said motivation goes to motive, goes to your motor.
Yep.
So good. Write that down, y'all. Please. Make sure you do that.
Yeah,
So
think about this though, right?
Yeah.
Let's say if I was walking down a river. Me and my mama, let's say we walking down a river, right? And as I'm walking down the river, let's say my cell phone falls in the river. Okay? My cell phone fall in the river. Now this is iPhone 13.
Right.
I may be tempted to jump in the river to get my cell phone, but it's just a cell phone.
Right.
But if I was walking down the same river and my precious mother fell in the river, now I have a bigger reason for jumping in the river. So now my mama, Lily Simmons, like my mama looking good, 75. I ain't never seen her swim. I've never seen her in a 1-piece, 2-piece, or 3-piece. So it's like, let me jump in this river to save this woman.
Yes.
That's now my motivation. That's my motive. That's my why. That's my motor for jumping in. And a lot of times we have to help our students identify, hey, what's your why? What's your why for going to school these 12 years? What's your why for getting an advanced degree? What's your why for going to science? What's your why for going into that field? If you can identify that why, that's going to be your motive and your motive to keep you motivated.
Wow, that's so good. So on this show, I like to talk a lot about passion and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel you differentiate the two? Because you have what most people deem as success with all of your accolades. So how do you differentiate purpose and passion for yourself?
Wow. So for me, I honestly feel like we are created with multiple purposes. Like,
Okay.
purpose is never fulfilled because there's more to life. Like,
Come on.
so my purpose today is to be here with you to serve your people on this podcast.
Right.
In about an hour or so, I'm about to go to choir rehearsal and serve my church community because we have Easter service coming up.
Right.
Then tomorrow, I'm going to go do something else. And then next week, I'm going to go speak at Texas. And so our purpose, I don't say it changes. Like, when do you know you've accomplished your purpose, especially when you have more of life to live? My idea is wherever I'm planted, my purpose is to make sure where I'm planted at the time that it soars.
Right.
Because you never know when it would change. You would never know when it would be adjusted. Like, there have been so many people who have been focused on doing one thing. They had one agenda. And then they look up the next day, they're not here anymore. Right? So the way I look at purpose is like, okay, my purpose, whatever that is, it's multi-layered. It's almost like this iPhone. Like, does this iPhone have a purpose?
Right.
Bro, this iPhone can do so many different things. Right? For some people, it could be a telephone. For some people, it can be a mirror. You know how y'all been looking at when y'all taking them, right? For some people, it could be a device to throw at your kids. I'm just playing. Don't throw your device at the kids, right? But this iPhone has multiple purposes.
Right.
At the same time, you have multiple purposes. And I think where passion comes in, it's like, all right, what are the things that I'm passionate about? Sometimes people get the things mixed up, passion and gift, right? You can be passionate about something, but you're not gifted in that area.
Right.
You can be passionate about baseball like I am, or I'm passionate about Major League Baseball.
Right.
But I'm not playing Major League Baseball. I'm not gifted. I'm not tall enough. I'm too short. They told me I was too small, right? You may be passionate about, creating wigs and weaves and end parts and clip ins, right? You may be passionate about it, but it's like when you do somebody's hair, it just don't come out right. So what we got to look at is that what are the things that we're passionate about? And then what are the things that we're gifted in doing? And I believe that the things that we are gifted in doing, those are the things that God has gifted us with so we can go fulfill the multiple purposes in life. So it's not all about passion, because there can be a lot of things that you like, a lot of things that sort of inspire you, but you don't have the skills or the giftedness to be able to do that. But if we can find our gift, we can find the thing that moves us, the thing that we are really good at. Like when we touch that, it works. Right? When we do that, people, they get happy. People are blessed by it. If we can understand that, then that'll be awesome. Here's even a cooler thing. If we can find things that we're gifted in and the things that we're passionate about and put them together, then I feel like we have an awesome, awesome life.
Come on. Gift and purpose. Come on. And then find what you're passionate about at the same time. Make them all go together. Because like you said, we're just like an iPhone. We're multi-layered.
Different
So
purpose.
Yeah. So your online presence is truly amazing, if I say so myself. And you have content that is super educational. How are you able to stay consistent and continue to provide valuable content?
Wow. You know what? I've just realized that we live in a world. Like think about it, right?
Hmm.
I'm in my office
Right.
enjoying this time with you. I'm not sure what city you're in. We're
Oklahoma.
having a conversation, you and I,
Yeah.
that thousands of other people are going to hear. Because of technology, because of STEM, I'm able to share my message over with somebody else. So when I think
Right.
about content, I think about all the different things that go on today. Boom. The iPhone. The iPhone has multiple purposes. I can now take that as something that people can use. And matter of fact, I'm gonna turn that into a video too about that little iPhone and purposes. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Yes. Yes.
But the
Do
thing
that.
about it is that like I could do a whole presentation on this little drill.
Uh-huh.
Right? Come on, somebody. We can talk about M&Ms, right? We can talk about M&Ms,
Come
right? Like
on.
your motive and your motivation and your motor, right?
Yes.
Let's go this. Your motivation and your money. Sometimes the
Yes.
reason you ain't making no money because you're doing things that you're not motivated to do. So how you create content?
Ooh.
You
Come on.
don't get me started now.
You're
That could be a
speaking.
TikTok video,
You're
huh?
speaking. You're
You see what I'm
speaking.
saying? So what I do is that whatever it is that's around me is just like, all right, motivation and money. Um, Try to take things that I see every single day. Like yesterday, I went to the Atlanta Hawks basketball game,
Hmm.
and there was something that I noticed. It's like, listen, I saw this, so let me turn that into a piece of content. Or maybe I
Okay.
hear something on the phone with my mama. My mama talking about her leg hurt, but I said, Mama, keep on going. How many times in life are things hurting on us, but we got to keep going? And so the way I create content is just by taking
Come
real
on.
life situations, breaking things
Yes.
down. And listen, like this goes back to, excuse my language here, but it goes back to those overly nerdy professionals that we had in our schools that did not take the time to break down things for students.
Mm.
Right, and
Yeah.
you've been in the field. You go sit in a classroom. You'll go sit in a what we used to call those things, research time, and a
Hmm.
speaker would get on stage and he would talk about his research, and
Hmm.
it'd be so deep. It's like so deep. We out in the
Yeah.
audience falling asleep. Like, what in the world is he or she talking about?
Yeah.
When you make things so complicated, I think it's designed to keep people confused and keep people bound. But when
Mm.
you can make things simple, now you open up people's minds and now they can go to greater opportunities. And so with everything I do, whether I'm speaking on stage, whether I'm writing a book, whether I'm doing a video series, or whether even, delivering content online, it's like, all right, let me make this simple. Maybe let me make this fun. Let me capture people's attention, because if I don't capture their attention, then they're gonna be somebody on TikTok, capturing their attention. You know?
Yeah. No, that's so true. Overly complicated keeps you bound. And it is up to us to make it simple for people to understand so
Right.
that they can go out there and be their better selves. Because when people understand it, they start to move different. They start to have a different cadence, a different walk, a different talk. And that's what I'm all about. Making sure people can understand so that they can go out there and be their best
Mm-hmm.
selves.
Mm-hmm.
Overcomplicated is overrated.
Yep.
it's
Yep.
it's
Yep.
overrated. It's
Because see,
overrated.
like, here's the thing about it, right? When you complicate stuff and make it so deep,
Hmm.
it automatically weeds some people out from ever being able to do it. And I feel like that's what's happened in our science and our science fields. Like, we have complicated chemistry so much that we train kids to say, "Oh, this hard." Or we've
Man.
complicated calculus so much, it's like, man, I can't do this. What you mean you can't do this? This the same person that's on level 25 of the video game that they play every single day. Right?
No, that's real.
Right. And so if you can simplify, I'm glad people can do it. People can learn it, and it breaks down the boundaries that we have.
Man, I need you to come talk to some of my professors in the chemistry department then.
Hey, I know.
No.
I understand.
No, but seriously. So what's one piece of advice you'd give someone to start out in your career?
One piece of advice that I give people to start out in their career, let's start with what you asked earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's identify the things that you like. What are the things that you're passionate about? What are the things that you get excited about? That's number one. Number two, you need to sit down to really analyze yourself. Like, what are you good at?
Mm-hmm.
What skills do you have? What skills do you not have? And then let's identify what are some ways that we can profit, we can make money. So now we take our passions, we take our gifts, we take our talents, we take our skill sets, and now we merge those together. Passion, gifts, and moolah. What's that? Passion, gifts, PGM, right? Your passion, your gifts, and moolah, where do those things intersect?
Okay.
If we can identify where they intersect, then now those are the careers that we should go after, right? Like, I define success this way. Find something that you absolutely love to do. Go to school, get the degrees, get the workshop, get the certificates, get everything you can to become the best at doing that thing. And then you get so good at what you do that now the world is willing to give you money for the thing that you do. And then now, with that money that you're receiving, you now use that money to make the world a better place. And that's how I define success. And so I'm always like, hey, find something you love. Really be analytical. Look at your skill set. Look at your giftings. Like, what are the things you're really, really good at? And then now merge those things to say, hey, is there some opportunity here to make some money? Is there some opportunity where people are now investing in this? And because at the end of the day, we all got to pay bills, right? So if you got to pay some bills, go find something that's going to profit. Yeah. Find a career that's going to profit you. Like, don't spend 4 and 5 years in college, and maybe some people build up student loans just to graduate in a career where you're only making $15,000, $20,000. For what? Right? like for what? Like, go find something that's going to pay the bills, but also find something that you're really, really good at and that you like it. There's so many people working jobs today. They're just there for the money, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
And they halfway good at it. So if you find something that you're good at and you like it and it comes with a little bit of money,
come on.
Then that's the career that you should go after.
That's a dangerous situation. That's a cause for a good celebration.
Yep.
So how do you give motivation when sometimes motivation is not what you feel?
You know, one of the things that I've come to understand, it's really hard to motivate somebody, but I can inspire them with my words. You know, one of my good mentors, Brendan Burchard, he always says something like, rather than trying to find energy to do things, create energy. Rather than trying to find motivation to do things, create the motivation to go do it. And so that's the mindset that I have, is like, all right, cool. If I'm feeling a little slothful or whatever, okay, I can't find any energy. I'm so tired. All right, cool. Let me go create some energy. When I'm not motivated to go to this class or to read this book or to study a subject, I can't find any motivation. All right, cool. Let me create some motivation. Let me call some people over, cook some chicken and some collard greens, and we're about to pull this stuff together and learn this subject. So my idea is for people that are listening, rather than looking for different people to motivate you and inspire you, go create your own motivation. Go create your own energy. Like, create it. Create it. When you can create it, now that's going to empower you to be able to go do what it is you want in life. Like my song say, the Yin Yang Twins. To get some, like we here to get crunk.
Come on. Yes.
Right?
I love that song so much. Yes. Create it. And I asked that question because most times you'll hear later down the line motivational speakers, they'll be like, well, I gave, but sometimes I didn't have it. I was, pouring from a half empty cup. And so that's so good that you said that, because people need to go find and create the motivation if they don't have it. Create something that you can go chase after. Like you said, if your mom is falling into the water, that's created motivation right there. I'm gonna go get my mom. She's not gonna go down the river without me at least trying. You know what I mean? So that's so good. Create it for yourself even if you don't have it.
Right.
So how have you overcome obstacles to allow you to do what you are called to do?
So I think one of the things is that, we haven't talked about it in this, segment or whatever, but I was born with this really cool birth defect. All right. So
Yes.
my mom early on, she taught me this principle. She said, Kantis, quit looking at what you don't have and focus on what you do have.
Mm.
And that has been a pillar in my life and my business. It's like so many times we focus on what we don't have. I ain't got enough money to pay these bills this month. I ain't got enough to do this. And I'm like, well, the bill ain't here yet. Like, it ain't time to pay the bill.
Right.
You're still there. Look at what you do have. You got time. You got opportunity. You got a roof over your head. Or people say, we didn't save any money for college. Okay. Go find advisors. Go find mentors. Get a course. Get a program. Go to Kantis website to get a scholarship program to figure out how you can find the money for college. And so that has always been the thing for me, is like, all right, Kantis, all right, don't look at what you don't have. What are the resources? What are the opportunities you do have? Take advantage of what you have. And then now use what you have to create something else. Everything grows from a seed, right? You have to plant a seed.
That's so good.
Before you can get a harvest. And when you plant a seed and you water that seed, you now have a harvest. And so rather than saying, quit looking at what you don't have, I encourage people to look at the seeds that they currently have that they can sow so they can get something to grow.
Yes. Sow it so you can grow it. Create your motivation. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if you are not writing these points down, you're letting yourself down in this moment. And if you did, go ahead and rewind it and go ahead and get those points, because it is necessary for you to have these tools, these skills, this different perspective so that you can stay on top of your game. If you could go back and give your college self a piece of advice, what would it be?
If I could go back to give it's probably to enjoy the journey.
Wow.
Because life is precious, and the only real thing I have with college now is I just have memories. Right? It's like I've been out of college. The only thing I have with college now is just like memories. I got memories of going to the sweat box. Hey, have a look. Like I got memories where we'll pack 8, 9 people in a little Honda Civic, right? Or staying up all night having conversations, having fun.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think so many times students are trained to work hard, go get your studies, go get all A's, and we sitting there laboring and scared we're going to lose our scholarships and working so hard that we don't enjoy the journey, right? The journey of, hey, you're in college. The journey of, like, you don't get opportunities to live in the dorm anymore. Like dorm life was like the best life ever. School food, man, before DoorDash, before Uber Eats. Like I love school food. Like I love going to the cafeteria. And I would tell myself, Kantis, like enjoy, let's say this, like not that I didn't enjoy the journey, but I would have enjoyed it more. Right? Because the reality is that once that journey is over, it now just become memories. And so to every college student, it's like, hey, enjoy the journey, have fun, but also do a great job in class, right? Do a great job in class, but also be a part of the organizations. Be a part of the organizations, but also, hey, it's okay to date. It's okay to communicate. It's okay to look at little shawty over there on campus, you know, like that's okay. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's all life, right? We get life. We get one opportunity to do life. And that's what I would say to my college self.
Man, that is so good. So we're wrapping up here. So you've talked about books. You have a message on your page where you were talking about, people having a study or a library versus having a large television screen. Whether or not that be rich or poor is relative, but the emphasis on for people who are successful, they read, and people who are not successful, they may not read. So with all of that being said, what are 3 books you'd recommend to my audience and why?
Oh, I'm going to be a little biased.
Go ahead.
1, the Bible. Definitely the Bible.
Come on. Okay.
Just with creation, just with the wealth of information, the cultures, just different lifestyles, different ways of thinking, the wisdom.
That's amazing.
The stories, just awesome. That'd be number 1. Number 2 would be my book. Play Your A Game.
Yes.
Play Your A Game. Why? Because it gives my perspective on the mistakes that I made in academia, but also showing students how to move forward and stay motivated, focused, and do really good.
That's good.
Yep. And I think the third book may be, Ooh.
Come on, what is it?
This book called Mr. Nice Guy.
Okay.
Mr. Nice Guy. I forget who's the author of this. Let's see, Mr. Nice Guy. Dang. Oh, here it is. Yep. Mr. Nice Guy is a book. No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's a book by Robert Glover. It's a proven plan for getting what you want in life and love, right? And no more Mr. Nice Guys, that sometimes as individuals, we are being too nice and we don't step out on what we really want. It's like, that's the last piece of chicken. You can have it. Right? And we have that same mindset. Go ahead, you can have it. I want you to be happy. Right. Versus saying, no, I want that last piece of chicken. Let me go get it. And in life, sometimes we are too nice because we're trying to satisfy somebody else. And in trying to satisfy somebody else, our needs go unmet. Our desires go unmet. And that's just a great, great book, especially for men. I know some women that have read that book, and it's been absolutely awesome. And it really helps you identify, like, it's okay to say you want a Whopper tonight. It's okay to say you want, a whole gallon of red Kool-Aid. Like, that's what I want. I want red Kool-Aid. But sometimes we can't say that because we feel like we're going to be judged, feel like we're going to be canceled by the culture, or feel like we won't be accepted. And so those are the 3 books: the Bible, Play Your A Game. And by the way, if people want my book for free, they can go to playyouragameBook.com. playyouragainbook.com. Just because you guys are friends of Dashari, you can get that playyouragainbook.com. And the last one is No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover.
You guys go tap into that. He said, go get it. Go get it. So what's next for you?
What's next for Kantis Simmons? Honestly, what's next is taking everything up to the next level. Like I said, milk going up, food going up, lashes going up.
Yeah.
Everything that I'm doing, speaking going up for me, online courses going up for me, programs going up for me, developing something that I call Kantis Academy. This is basically Kantis Academy is designed to take everything that I know, everything that I understand, and really be able to give it back to other young men and young women, especially in the STEM field. So that's what's next for me. Just do more of what I'm doing, but take it up to another level so that I can impact more students like yourself, more students like your listeners, and just become a better version of myself. Because I'm still living, girl. My purpose not over.
Right. It's not. And like Fat Joe says, yesterday's price is not
today's price.
Yes, sir. So how can people follow you?
Yes. So to follow me is everything Kantis Simmons, Kantis Simmons, Kantis Simmons. That's KantisSimmons.com. That's Kantis Simmons on Facebook. That's Kantis Simmons on Instagram. I even got a TikTok now. Kantis Simmons on TikTok. When we had MySpace, or maybe you remember MySpace, they got Kantis Simmons on MySpace. I used to be on Tinder when I was back online day. It used to be Kantis Simmons on Tinder. So listen, it's just Kantis Simmons. And yeah, so if you can't find me, that means I've gone on to glory. Like a grandmama used to say, I've gone on to glory, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is Kantis Simmons.
So if you could leave my listeners with one thing, what would you tell them?
I would reiterate what I said earlier. Quit looking at what you don't have and focus on what you do have. And the things that you do have, utilize those things and use those things to grow whatever it is you want in life. That's what I would say to your listeners.
Man, thank you so much, Mr. Kantis Simmons. You guys, this man is on the rise. Please stay connected with him. Go get his book like he said. You guys, rewatch this video if you have to, because he dropped some major gems, and I am super excited to see everything that he has in store. So Kantis Simmons everywhere. Go follow him, stay connected, and stay updated on all things Kantis Simmons, because he is one to stay on the lookout for. Thank you so much, Mr. Kantis Simmons.
Hey, Dashari, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.